So ecosystem. Okay, now what is this ecosystem? Now ecosystem means what? It's a functional unit of what? The nature. So nature means what? It is going to involve all the living things which is going to interact in a particular environment. Okay, and that thing is only called as what? The ecosystem. Now, if you take aquatic, means the pond, lake, or if you're taking the mountains, valleys, the anything, whatever you take, this ecosystem will vary in what? The size, okay, what habitat lives on it, everything, right? So usually when we see about the ecosystem structure as well as the function, the first thing which comes is the types of ecosystem. Now, what are the types of ecosystem generally we can see? Three are written over here, that is the terrestrial, aquatic, and man-made. So terrestrial means what? Okay, now see, in an ecosystem, it's very important that there should be an interaction between the biotic, means the living as well as what? Non-living organisms. Then only there will be a development of that particular ecosystem and you can categorize them into these categories. Okay, so if you see the terrestrial ecosystem, they are nothing but it includes what? Forest, grasslands, and deserts. Like whatever land based things are there, this all comes under what? The terrestrial ecosystem. So, usually, whatever the grasslands are there, they are being dominated by the grasses, herbs. You have different types of plants, right? Grass, herbs, shrubs, and all those stuff. So all these things comes under what? Terrestrial ecosystem means whatever is on land. Next you have is what? The aquatic ecosystem. So aquatic means what? Water related. So if that particular ecosystem exists in the bodies of the water, then you can say it's an aquatic ecosystem. Now again in this aquatic ecosystem, you will be having two categories. One is called as the fresh water and another one is called as what? The marine water. So fresh water means what? Lakes, ponds, rivers, everything. Because fresh water doesn't have salt in them. Whereas marine water means what? The ocean, seas, the big water bodies. Because they have what? Salt in them. Okay. So this comes under what? The aquatic ecosystem. Then the third one which you have is the man-made. Okay, so it's not a natural ecosystem. Like for example, if you see an aquarium. Now, aquarium is for the fishes, but who made it? Man. Then you have crop fields or whatever you say, the farm, the agricultural land which is there. All these are made by whom? The man. So it is what? A man-made ecosystem. Okay, so generally if you take a land, there will be what? Many layers. And these layers are called as what? Stratas. So when different layers are being present, okay, that particular thing is called as what? Stratification. Okay, for example, if you take a forest. Now in forest, the first one what comes? The trees. So trees is the first layer. Then you have little height, small heighted plants, which are called as what? Shrubs. Then you have herbs, then you have grasses at the bottom layers. So whatever this distribution of that particular plants in a forest in terms of layers is called as what? Stratification. Okay. So first let's see about what? The pond. Now, if you see this, okay, pond is what? A simple water ecosystem, okay, where basically small components or small organism will be present. Now, what does this pond as an ecosystem actually consist of? Okay, so the first thing that you have over here is what? Abiotic components. Now, what will be the abiotic components? That is the non-living, water and the soil, obviously. Then you have the climatic conditions. Now, whenever you go near a water body, what are the climate you can feel? The solar input means the sun will be there, the cycle of the temperature and the day length. Okay, so you know that when the sun rises, okay, sun sets, you get sometimes it will be very humid, sometimes there will be a very strong wind. All these are what? Different climatic conditions near your aquatic body. Then you have is what? The autotropic components. So autotrophic components, autotrophs means what? Those organisms which can prepare their own food, like for example, plants. So obviously here you can see what different types of plants, which is also called as what? Producers. Okay, that is phytoplankton, algae, okay, other different kinds of plants and all those stuff. Then you can see consumers, which is also called as heterotrophs. So they are going to depend on the autotrophs for their food. And lastly, you have is what? The decomposers, which is going to get decomposed, and that is also going back into the earth again. So in this image, you can clearly see there is a sun, there is a dragonfly, there are small plants which are called as the producers. These plants are being, or this algae or the plants are being eaten by the small fish, which you can say them as what? The zooplankton or the primary consumers. Then this primary consumer, that is the fish, has been eaten by whom? This tertiary consumer, which is the turtle. Now, when this turtle eats this fish, some of the remnants will go here, and it will be what? In the form of sediments or the decomposers, you can say. And obviously, to decompose this body, dead body, which is inside the aquatic pond, there will be lots of bacteria and fungi. So this is all overall about what? The pond or the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, so there are different, what do you say, functions which is being performed by this ecosystem. What is the first function that it does? Autotrophs converts the inorganic into organic by using the solar energy, that you know, the photosynthesis process. Second one is what? Whatever plants make the food, they are being consumed by the heterotrophs. And lastly, there will be what? Decomposition and mineralization of your dead matter, right? And again, it goes to the earth, and again, reusable thing will come out. So for this to happen in that aquatic ecosystem, we need four basic components. Okay, so what are those four basic components in an ecosystem? It's the productivity, decomposition, energy flow, nutrient cycling. Only if these four components are present in any of the ecosystem, you may take the land ecosystem or the aquatic or whatever, but these four components are necessary for the functioning of the particular ecosystem. So let's see one by one about the components of the functioning of the ecosystem. So the first one is what? Productivity. Okay. Now see, if anything, any ecosystem you take, production, that is a very important part of a particular ecosystem. Okay. So if you see, yeah, here if you see, there is primary productivity and secondary productivity. If I zoom this, what you can see over here? A leaf is there, apples, and a caterpillar is there. Okay. Now, in the productivity, generally the primary requirement for this production to happen is what? Solar energy. Because solar energy will only give whatever necessary functions are there for that particular ecosystem to do. So primary production and secondary production means what? Now, primary production, if I take the first one over here, it means what? There will be some amount of biomass. Okay, means that whatever organic matter which is there, right? So there will be some amount of organic matter which is being produced by the plants whenever they do the process of what? Photosynthesis. And that particular organic matter will be produced in a given time and in a given area. Okay, see, it's in simple words, it's what? The amount of the organic matter which is produced by the plants through the photosynthesis process. So whenever a plant is doing a photosynthesis process, what is going to take place over there? The organic matter will be produced in more amount. It may be the flowers, it may be the fruits, or whatever it is. So that matter which has been produced, it will be for a given area and time. Okay, simple words if I want to tell you. If you take a small pot, okay, and you're growing a big tree over there, will it get sufficient nutrient? No. And even it will take more time also, maybe it may die also. Okay, so given area, given time is very important if you want to get a like, or you know, that amount of biomass through whatever the photosynthesis process is there. Then only you can calculate that annually how much product you're getting from that particular tree. Okay, and then you can use it for the comparison, how it can be. Okay, so generally to do this, the whatever the productivity process is there, it has been divided into what? The two components. Okay, I'll just minimize this first. Yes. Okay. So if you see over here, whatever the production is there or the productivity which is there, it has been divided into what? Two components, which is known as GPP and NPP. So GPP is nothing but the gross primary productivity and NPP is nothing but the net primary productivity. Okay. So what is this GPP and NPP? Now GPP means what? It is the rate of production of organic matter during the photosynthesis. Okay, means when the plants is doing the process of photosynthesis, how much amount of organic matter is being produced. That is called as what? GPP, or that is what the GPP represents. So here there will be what? See, now whenever photosynthesis is done, not only a product is formed, but also there is a process which is known as what? Respiration taking place over there. Okay, so what in GPP, how much organic matter you are getting and how much is being consumed by the plants for the respiration. Both you can get by using what in this GPP, that is the gross primary productivity. Whereas the net the primary productivity, which is the NPP, how you calculate that particular thing is it's what the available biomass for the consumption to the heterotrophs. Means after using it for the respiration or for the plants, whatever remains is there, right? Means the loss, the respiration loss, whatever is there from the GPP. In simple terms, NPP is nothing but you can just calculate it by subtracting or minimizing whatever the loss due to respiration happens from the GPP, okay? And after that, how much ever biomass you're going to get, that can be consumed by the heterotrophs. It is called as what? The net productivity. Okay, so these are the two types of productivity which comes under the primary production, GPP and NPP. Now, once this is done, next type of productivity is what? Secondary productivity. So, secondary productivity means what? Now, this will be the rate at which the consumer is going to generate new organic matter for them. Okay, so when there is a formation of new organic matter by the consumer, okay, not the producer, but by the consumer, then it's called as what? The secondary productivity. Now, this will be easy if you see this diagram. In this diagram, what you can see clearly. Okay. Now, see the green color plant does the photosynthesis and you're getting the product, that is your total organic matter is the apple. Hmm? Now, obviously, plants respire, so some will be lost in the respiration process. So this, until this, okay, whatever things are there, they are called as primary productivity. Now, once this apple is formed, caterpillar sees that apple and it's coming to eat that apple. So the consumer, now caterpillar is the consumer, that is a heterotroph, which is going to eat the producer, that is the apple. So this total includes what? Primary productivity. Now after consuming this apple, okay, from the primary production, what does this caterpillar do? It will give you what? The feces. That is what? The excreta, right? So excreta plus tissue plus the cell respiration, which is lost by the respiration of that caterpillar. This is called as what? Secondary productivity. Okay, so here whatever the caterpillar is there, that is generating a new product or new organic matter, which is the fecal matter. Right? So all these things comes under what? The production of an ecosystem. Okay. Then after the production, next you have is what? Decomposition. Now decomposition is a very simple term. Whatever complex materials are there, they have been broken down into simple matters or okay, that is the by the decomposers, the bacteria, fungi which are there, they will break them into the simple components so that it can be used up. Right? So in the decomposition process, generally whatever the raw material for the decomposition is there, it's called as what? The detritus. Okay, so detritus will be your leaves, bark, flowers, whatever will fall off after drying, right? All these things are called as what? Detritus. Now, how actually the decomposition takes place? Now, it's very important to know that during the decomposition, water, carbon dioxide, nutrients, all this play a very important role. Okay, so how actually this process takes place? So the first thing what happens during the decomposition is the fragmentation. Fragmentation means simple terms is nothing but the breakdown. Okay, so whatever leaf, bark, flowers, whatever things are there, okay, that is just broken down or it's been converted into the simple matter. By whom? By the detrivorous, which are basically now here example which I have given is the earthworm. Okay, now once the fragmentation or breakdown has been done, next what happens is the leaching away of the nutrients. Okay, so water, if there is water present over there where the fragmentation has occurred, so the water soluble components all will mix in the water. What happens to the water later? It will be absorbed by the soil. And where does this nutrient go? It will go to the earth. And later on, it will make it as an unavailable salt over there. So that's called as what? Leaching away. Okay, so leaching means basically it's just the downward movement of whatever water soluble inorganic nutrients are there. But the one important point that you have to mention is the salts will be unavailable over there. Okay, they will become as what? Unavailable salts. So they won't be available to the plants also for taking. Third one is what? Catabolism. Okay, so catabolism is nothing but degradation of the detritus into the simpler or inorganic substances. Now that can be done either by the bacteria or the fungus. Okay, they will produce certain enzymes and they are going to increase the catabolism process, that is breaking down process. Once it's broken down, next what happens is the humification. Okay, so humification means it's nothing but the humus. You will be having something called as the humus after the breakdown. Now that humus is in a state that further it will not be broken down by any of the microbes, whether it's the bacteria or the fungus. So it will just take time and it will decompose what very slowly and later on it will serve as what nutrient for the plants or rest of the things. And lastly, what happens is the mineralization. So mineralization means what? Whatever your inorganic nutrients are there, whenever the humus will degrade completely by the microbes, it will release that particular inorganic nutrients and it will form what? Mineralization. Okay, so this is how the decomposition process which is there, it takes place. Okay, so usually decomposition is comes under the aerobic respiration category because to do all this process you need oxygen. Okay, so hence that is one factor. The oxygen is required. Another factor is the climate also. Okay, so the decomposers they will work in certain climate. If you see that whatever the bark or the leaves or the fruits which have been fallen down, if they are having high amount of chitin or lignin in their cell wall composition, then obviously whatever the degradation process is, they will be slow. Okay. Other than that, if they are water soluble, they will be easily, mixed with the water, then easy process it will become. Okay, and then the temperature, whether it's hot, cold, how fast the microbes are there, how many number of microbes are there, everything. Okay, everything matters whenever a decomposition is happening over there. Okay, so these are all what the factors which is going to affect the decomposition, that is the chemical composition as I told you. Okay, next is the climatic factor. Okay, that is the temperature as well as the soil moisture. You can just imagine if a soil is not wet, okay, and it's very dry, how will that particular thing be absorbed by the soil? No, right? So for that, soil moisture also plays a very important role in the decomposition process.